Hey guys, welcome to the Dr. Dex podcast. I am accompanied by DJ Studio Man. You can't see him, but you can hear him.
Yeah, you can do the talking though.
Absolutely. And I'm today's guest is he's known online as Deckmaster J, or your new handle, is it Deck Van Gogh?
Yes, well, that's the company. That's the new brand that we're building up. But I still do most of my content under the Deckmaster J brand.
Okay, but also known as Jeremy Wilkins. Jeremy, thank you for being on the Dr. Dex podcast.
My pleasure.
Especially in a discombobulated week we had this week, but I'm really grateful for you picking up the shift, man. That's really cool. And we are going to get to know Jeremy, all about him. This man possesses a wicked set of skills, and I've always admired his build style. He's always rivaled workmanship that I do in my line of work. We're very similar in what we do. Now he's gone off. He's got a story though that is interesting to me. Most of the people that I talk to that actually listen to our podcast, most of them say they enjoy our style, our format, because we really want to hear about you,
right,
and your history and what everything's all about. But before we get into all that, we were just talking, and I said, let's just put it on record, and then we'll talk about so we're talking about the International Builder Show and why we're filming this on a Sunday. And we were talking about, normally I would book a flight and Kiki's coming with me, right? So usually I would book a flight midday, but we travel from the West Coast to the East Coast. We lose 3 hours of our time by the time we get there. So depending on how you look at it, it's like an 8-hour journey, but it only takes about 5.5 to 6 hours. But then we lose 3 hours of time as well. So it just makes it for a long day, because by the time you land, you get your Uber, you get to the hotel, that day's shot.
Yep.
So I just figured, you know what, we want to be there at least one day early so I can capture some content. So we're gonna my poor wife, we're gonna fly a red eye, honey. I allured her by saying, babe, if you do this red eye with me, I will upgrade us to first class.
How could she say no to that?
Well, she did. She said yeah. She said yes. So I was like, okay, cool. And this way we fly overnight, and then when we wake up and we had a great night's sleep on the plane for that whole 5.5 hours, then we'll be fully charged and ready to go. That never happens. So I don't know what I was thinking. I was being hopefully optimistic. And unfortunately, I think we're just going to, it's not going to be a crash and burn situation, but we're going to have to go red eye to Orlando, drop our bags at the hotel. Probably won't have our room ready yet, because we're going to get there at 9 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning.
Yep.
We'll arrive at the hotel at 9:30, and they'll be like, Mr. Russell, I'm sorry, but your room's not ready yet. And I'll say, fine, check our bags. We'll be back. And then we're heading down to the convention center, where organized chaos ensues. So, with all that being said, sorry for the lengthy explanation, but Jeremy has been so gracious. Now, yesterday, you were going to shoot with us yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then I said, hey, man, it's Valentine's Day, and probably not the best day to be doing a podcast. And I think everybody in this room agreed.
Yeah, I'm sure. Our wives appreciated it.
Calvin's shaking his head, yeah. So I was like, cool, let's do it. Can you do it Sunday? I haven't shot on a Sunday, but thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm. My pleasure.
Appreciate you, man. All right, Jeremy Wilkins, give me an introduction. Give me your current status of what you're doing and whatever it is, and just let me. And again, I know you're in the Carolinas, right?
Correct. We're in the Greenville, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Okay, fair enough. So, Jeremy, the floor is yours.
Floor is mine. Currently, I've done a lot of different stuff in my career, and it usually is some stem of I've got a passion and a project that I get fired up about. And that current one is the Deck Van Gogh brand, where I'm trying to combine all of my years of experience in the trades, because I grew up in the trades. I've been in the trades for 20 years. Got a little bit of experience. Not that I know everything, it's the constant learning. You're a lifelong student when you're in the trades. But I'm trying to package my skill sets, the stuff that I've learned from other people teaching and investing in me, in ways that can help inspire and strengthen the next generation of builders by developing new tools, new systems, just new ways of looking at things that you don't typically see in traditional, what I'll call traditional business models. So we're trying to do different things. We're trying to be a little bit crazy and share our results.
I'm in.
Share our results so that, it's someone's got to do it. If, there's always got to be that first person to take a leap of faith. And that's kind of what we're trying to do with this, and do it in the real world, instead of just saying, this is a hypothetical on paper and X is going to be the result. We're trial by fire.
Yeah, brother. Sometimes, maybe this is a crude analogy of that, but sometimes you got to keep throwing stuff at the wall until you see something that sticks.
That's it.
And then you get some stuff to start sticking on the wall, and then you kind of like gravitate towards that.
That's it.
I mean, kind of social media is the same way. Like, what I found really bizarre this year? We took an extended period of time off. First time I've ever done this in my career. I took like 3 weeks off work, like a week before Christmas to after the New Year. And I was like, I don't have anything on my phone to share with my audience. And you got to continually feed the beast. So I went through and I found my most popular videos, and I just said, I'm just going to repost these.
I hear that it does quite a bit of traffic. I haven't tried it myself, but everyone says it works.
Oh my goodness!
Get everyone fired up again.
It worked better than I thought it was going to work.
Yep.
Like, my most viewed video has 44 million views. So I reposted the water witching video, and the second version of that, and I waited a full year to repost it, or maybe it's 2 years. It's at over 35 million again. And just as many haters and lovers and skeptics. All right, so Jeremy, currently what are you doing, like, for income? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what's paying the bills?
I am working with my business partner, and we are refining our process for selling luxury decks. That, believe it or not, for a couple of guys that have been building stuff our entire career, we've never really been great at selling it. It's kind of, we get those projects that would stumble across us, but it was never consistent. And we have taken it upon ourselves to really hone down that process, really get good at selling ourselves and selling our service, so that we can create opportunity to train more builders and bring other people into the trades. So primarily right now, main income, decks. We're doing, most of the projects we've had are like 400, 500 square foot plus recently. Screen rooms,
good for you.
It just big stuff, which we love. It makes it difficult for marketing.
You've always been good at it.
And that's the thing is, I've always said I'm not a salesperson. I've never been a salesperson, but I've been in sales my entire life, ironically. But I'm not a pushy individual. I feel like, there's something of that sales mentality that you feel like you have to perform, and that's never been my perspective. I've always been one to try to consult for my clients and let them make a decision. And if they choose me, awesome. And if not, then hopefully they've been educated with enough information to feel the most comfortable with whatever decision they made. If that's not me, I'm not hurt by it, because sometimes it's the clients just may not like you, and they might like someone else. You may have done everything perfect, but they vibe better with somebody else. And,
what I find is that there's a lower price.
Yeah.
There's just a lower price sometimes, and that's all it is. It's not you. You're great. I want to get into some things, but I think we need to hit the rewind button.
Let's do it.
Before we're getting really, really far into. So as far as some of that information, let's save some of that for our bonus episode, because I think there's some value in it that our subscribers, the people that are actually paying for our Patreon, would really love to hear.
Sure.
So we're going to put an ice cube on that for a second. Now, did you grow up in South Carolina?
I did not. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and did construction through the Mid-Atlantic. residential construction, commercial remodeling, home inspections, various different kind of consulting. I did a lot of, if it was around construction, I was probably doing it. Besides concrete and foundation work, I really didn't, I tried to stay out of the dirt.
But let's rewind a little further.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Pikesville, Maryland, like borderline Pikesville, Owings Mills. It was at the time, a very ritzy part of town. But like that wasn't where, I wasn't necessarily part of that element. I was of a different lifestyle in the, in the area. But it was interesting. I grew up at the intersection of a couple highways and a couple of train tracks, so it was always noisy, and you never saw any stars at night. Really, it was.
Yeah. Did you get used to that kind of a surrounding, or is it something that like when the big train came by, you're like, that train, or is it like, whatever?
No, as a kid, it became white noise. It was so consistent that. I feel like anyone in the city, if you're going to survive in a city, you get used to the noise or you get out or go crazy. And I don't think I went crazy.
Did you ever play chicken with the trains or the highway or anything like that when you were growing up?
No. Had enough respect for the trains, heard enough horror stories of other people from generations past. Who knows how much of that was true, but
some of it must have been, I'm sure.
I know some of it was. I've seen enough articles in the paper.
Yeah, that's scary. So what was great? Where'd you go to, like, grade school? How was that growing up?
Grade school was interesting. I've always been one of those people that pushes boundaries and questions authority.
All right.
Yeah, right. It's, that, what do they say? It's like, oh man, I'm trying to remember. My doctor had a great one my mother used to love. Those are habits that are going to be difficult as a child, but as an adult, they tend to do well. There's their strengths at that point, but it takes a while.
Sure.
Yeah, I was one of those kids and was constantly pushing boundaries, but a lot of it was being inquisitive. I was curious. I wanted to know what I was doing and not just blindly follow someone or someone say something as fact and me just take them at face value for it. So I was, even as a young kid, I was very involved in technology. I got into robotics and engineering, like any of the STEM STEM programs that you could find. I was all about it.
Okay, so how old are you now?
I'll be 40 in a couple weeks.
Okay, so I'm just trying to develop a timeline for our listeners, and it always helps me to gauge kind of like your grade school. This is back in 19.
This would have been. I would have started kindergarten in 1991 because I was born in '86. So
you started kindergarten after I graduated from high school. Awesome. Okay,
generations.
Hey man, but we all speak the same language,
That's
man,
it.
and it's pretty cool. And I'm not talking about English. I'm talking about construction. So that's really cool at a young age that you kind of got into robotics and that kind of thing.
I was very big in technology.
It's the 90s, so you had access to that kind of stuff. Where when I was a kid, we didn't have. We had sticks and stones, man.
Yeah, sticks and stones, but I was still getting into it before the internet was popping up, which was very difficult. Like I had to go to the library and get books to learn topics still as a kid.
Well,
it took effort to learn, where now like everything is in your face. Like we live at the age now. Yeah, it's, if you don't know something, it's negligence. It is purely negligence at that point. It just, we are so spoiled now. It is incredible.
But you still got to be a sponge, right? You still got to absorb it.
That's it.
And apply it.
Yep. That's the hard part, the application.
So like, what grade were you in when you really started, like when you put together did you start making and building robots?
I started actually repairing computers. My grandfather was adamant. He was an engineer himself. And he was adamant about me being involved in technology and just kind of always funneled some sort of computer to us. Now, mind you, this is back, it was MS-DOS and Windows 3.1. I had a copy of Windows 3.1 on 6 floppy disks, I remember specifically. You didn't even need a serial for it at the time. But
oh, wow.
I was just tinkering with stuff like I kind of always would. You learn through trial and error. We'd have a computer that would break, and my mom somehow would find someone else that has another broken computer that they didn't want and give me parts, and I'd wind up with one functional computer. And then
Cool.
from there, that grew into a little bit of software. I wasn't until I guess middle school really that I got more into the robotics side.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So were you were your academics well? Did you do well with your academics like in junior high?
Yes and no. It was another one of those. If it was something that I enjoyed, like math and science, I would excel because it was something that was natural to me. But if you had me in like English, I was in speech therapy up until like third or fourth grade.
Oh wow.
Like just even
Okay.
to like carry conversation and get my enunciation, like that was one of those. I spent a lot of time in elementary school just working on communicating. And then from there, sorry, I just had a total brain fart.
Okay.
But yeah, from there,
Yeah, I'm asking you to dig deep.
Academically, yeah, from that going into middle school, it was pretty consistent up until high school, where by the time high school came around, I guess I really started having my like bouts with struggling emotionally come like 14, 15. So like from, I guess, sophomore year on in high school was crazy. Just like I barely went. I did drop out my senior year. I didn't finish. I got my GED later in that year. But come high school, the end of high school was a crazy time for me, with making all kinds of crazy decisions.
Okay, so how did your school system work though? Was it like kindergarten through 6th and then 7th, 8th, 9th, or how did that break down?
In Baltimore at that time, it was from kindergarten up until 5th grade, and then it was a different school, or at least where I went was a different school from 6th to 8th grade. I went to 2 different elementary schools. I went to 2 different middle schools, and then because of that, I was adamant that I was going to stick out high school right up until the last 2 months. But the teachers were great. The schools were great. I mean, I could tell you, there were plenty of teachers that left their impact on me as, showing what it really meant to be a positive influence in someone's life, besides not just a teacher there to repeat information or get you, just connecting with people in ways that you may not expect a teacher to connect with. I don't know.
Cool. Right on. So when you got in middle school, in the robotics, how did that work, or what was that about? Was there a class, or was it just something you did on the side, or what?
A little bit of everything in that regard. All of the above. The middle school, one of the first middle school that I went to was Sudbrook Magnet Middle it's just outside Baltimore County or Baltimore City. But that school I specifically went to for a technology program. I had to apply, get into it, and then they had some pretty cool robotics programs they were Lego, what are the Technics?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was another one, Brainstorm, I think, was when they came out with the controllers. You could actually have sensors that then gave you the ability to program logic into it so you could create smart devices. That was that. I did erector sets. I mean, I guess as far back as I can remember, that's not as crazy. They didn't give you the same kind of freedom that Legos did. Legos were amazing.
Yeah, I think I remember we had a couple of those growing up, Cal, right?
A couple?
We had a lot of Legos, but the Technics or whatever it was.
Yeah, there was a few Technics.
Yeah, man. So I dig it. Right on.
Yep.
So you were actually doing like small robots with those Lego sets.
Yep. And then it wasn't until I got older, I started getting into Arduinos and microcontrollers, like Raspberry Pis, where you could program more high-level systems into them. I wasn't doing like big robots out of it. That was more just interesting projects where I could have devices doing data collection for me, kind of thing, like stupid things, solar information, like how much daylight I'm getting, just weird data that I need.
That's really cool, though. It's funny because I've seen all that stuff. I've seen it like on the internet and different guys. Oh, Raspberry Pi,
Yep.
Pi. I've seen it, but I've never really known what it does or how to implement it into something. But then a lot of the devices we have today probably were based off those earlier versions of those products?
To some capacity. I mean, they're just generic like prototyping boards that allow you to prototype stuff really fast to prove concept and then refine it later as you get into it. But
Cool.
it's so cool, the stuff that's out now, and how cheap everything is now too. Like experimenting with this stuff, you know, $20-$30, you can get a cool little controller and actually start making some things, and parts are readily available.
Cool. All right. So, so in high school,
Yep.
were you into sports or anything, or is it just what was that like for you?
I played soccer pretty much year round from elementary school up until high school. When I got to high school, I just lost interest in it. That was again where, I don't know, I was, I guess, like 15 years old when I started having the whole weight of the world perception kind of crashing down, like thinking about life and death and just reality of what's going to happen. Just, I don't know. That was that point in my life. For whatever reason, at that age is when I was really stuck on, I don't know, just what I was going to do with my life and not having any idea what was happening, and you know, a little bit of depression. But like I don't know. That was a rough time to be going through all of that, because
Gotcha. Yeah, it ain't easy.
There's
man.
enough other stuff already happening, so just to compound some chaos.
Yep.
But yeah.
Okay. So when you decided to stop going to high school, and then you know eventually, like you said, you got your GED. Good for you. That's great. You know, you have that equivalency of graduating from high school. And what did you decide? Were you through that what if stage, or were you still kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do here? Or what did you start doing after that?
I'm an open book. I don't really mind talking about this stuff, and I'll let you guys kind of edit it your own disclosure. But my senior year, I wound up getting in trouble with the law, and wound up, what was it? It was April 20th. I woke up in jail on 4/20 in 2004, and reality set in, and realized like, you know, I don't know. You go from real quick of I don't care about anything to nothing can bother me to realize, holy cow, like things can always get worse. Things can always get worse. You think things are bad, but then things can always get worse. And it forced me to acknowledge the route that I was going on, the decisions that I was making, what I was deflecting on other people, you know, just all of this emotional baggage that I wasn't dealing with properly. And at that point in time,
were you able to
go on?
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say.
I was just saying, were you go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say my senior year, that was, you know, I decided that I didn't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't going to go that route anymore, and wound up kind of just cutting everyone off and moving out of town, because that was the only way that I felt I could get away from everything. It was, you know, everyone knew where I lived. I couldn't get people to stop contacting me or stop showing up. So I pretty much had to start over and kind of redefine who I was, because I didn't like who I was. You know, it just,
dude, that's crazy. Like, that's great though, that you were, you know, you had some bad influences maybe in your life, and you needed to cut ties from that and start over. And hey, kudos to you, man. There might be somebody listening out there that maybe needs to kind of do the same thing and doesn't quite have the courage to do it. So I'm always open to, you know, if somebody needs to reach out or has something to say, you know, you can always get a hold of Deckmaster Jay, or you can even reach out to me and let us know your story, man, because this ain't easy sometimes to talk about. And I didn't have you on here to drag it out of you, but it's just the direction we're going right now. So I appreciate your honesty and and you telling us this part of your life, because I had no idea.
I know. That's not something I've ever really talked about. And I've kind of kept it aside for for a long time.
For this moment.
Well, I've kept it aside for a long time until I felt like I could prove that, like, that was me then. That's not me now. That was me then. You know, that is, of course. I don't even recognize who that was kind of mentality now. And
that's over 20 years ago, bro.
Over 20 years ago. I was 18. I've had more time go by now, you know, than it was from my birth up until making that doing everything that I did. And
we all make mistakes. We all learn, and the good thing is you learn from them.
That's it. And so I'm trying to, the people that I'm close to, I've shared a lot of this with, especially the guys that I work closely with, and I've trained and mentored over the years. I share a lot of this with, because I feel like when people understand that they're not the only one struggling with something, it helps give them some strength. And not
100%.
Not that like me trying to share this is like, I don't need anyone's pity. Like this, I've processed all this. I'm past this. I know exactly what I'm doing with it now. And I am like so fired up with the goal because of the momentum that I've built over the years of knowing like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm running from that direction. And we just have so much speed this way now. But I'm trying to, show the trades are awesome. I think the trades got a bad rap. And I think you can more so attest to that, having been in it the generation before me. The trades used to be, maybe, I don't know, maybe to correct me if I'm speaking out of tongue or out of turn, but the trades used to be at least viewed very heavily as you did the trades because you couldn't do anything else. It was like a fallback resort. And just people had that mentality. But the trades now, it's so much more technical. It's so much more, there's so much more thought put into everything that we do. And the people that do it, like it's the same kind of, the characters change. Like the people that are doing this now don't have that same kind of, I'm just going to say aggressive mentality. Like, the trades back in the 90s and early 2000s was nuts. I don't know why I stuck through it having started that time, because you go to work just to be abused all the time and collect a check.
Yeah. Well, look at all the companies that have catered to our trade. Yeah. Like the companies that are making tools, the hammer companies, titanium this, and spend a lot of money on this because it's cool. And you're right, it is cool, and it does help us, and it makes us better carpenters. But if we were a worthless generation and we weren't the backbone of society, then why would all these companies cater to us? Right. And uplift us and make us better. Exactly. And that's really interesting you said that, because we when I was starting my business, it's all I knew, so I didn't really have a choice. Like, this is what I'm doing, regardless of. But see, when we started like creating art, that's when I just put myself on a different pedestal and said, "Hey, I'm an artist, man. I am not a deck builder." I've been saying that for over 20 years, and that's that's the way I've always seen it. I've never put myself in a construction grade a carpenter. Like Jesus was a carpenter. I was like, cool, man. So am I. That's cool. But I'm also enlightened. Like I got sprinkled with some ability, and let's exploit the heck out of that now. Yep. Let's push it beyond what I think I can do, and let's take it to failure and then pull it back a little bit and see where we can land. So that's awesome, Jeremy. So okay. So you got your head screwed on straight. You're 18 years old. Yep. You're out of jail.
I'm out of jail.
And we won't talk about how you got there, but let's just you're out now, and you have a new direction. You're really young. You've learned your lesson. Hey, I've been to jail too, so you're not alone.
No, plenty of us out there have.
Yeah. And then what happens to Deckmaster J?
So, gosh, I moved from Baltimore out to Western Maryland, which Western Maryland feels a lot like Greenville, South Carolina, just 500 miles north. So the winters are a little bit colder and summer's pretty much the same, but very mountainous. Not mountainous, but for East Coast, it's mountainous. And it was more of a natural environment because, again, I enjoy being outside. There's a reason I built decks for a living now. Yeah. But yeah, moved out to Frederick, and I stayed in Frederick for, I don't know, almost 10 years between Frederick. I was in Frederick County for about 10 years up until 2017, where I moved out there. I got a job. I got a job at, what was it? It was Office Depot. The first job when I finally got out there was at Office Depot, working in the technology department, helping sell computers. And that was fun for a while because I was really good at technology. worked my way up to a point there because I'm a kind of person, I'm very interested in processes. That's just how my head works. I think that's why I did well with programming and engineering as a child. So when I got into Office Depot, one of the first things I did was just hit their books. I was just nuts for all their SOP because I wanted to understand the machine so that when I understand the machine, now I can tinker with the machine. I can understand what causes certain effects in the line, and now you've got understanding of if there's a problem, how to address it, or whatever. So anywhere I've gone, I dig into their operations. I love studying the heck out of how people do stuff and how people solve problems because everyone's got a different perspective and we all see the same situation differently. So there's a lot of value in working with teams because of that. But yeah, so I did time with Office Depot. That wound up turning into an opportunity over at Home Depot, where I worked at Home Depot for about a year. Meantime, I'm still doing like nights and weekends as the carpenter, painting stuff, drywall, patch paint, trimming things in, just whatever else someone needs for some extra money. So even when I was doing just whatever, trying to get out of construction, honestly, I was still doing construction. So Home Depot, transition out of that. I do insurance restoration for a while for another company. That was fun. Insurance restoration, if you're ever looking for good, steady work, insurance restoration in the north is a pretty good bet because all winter you deal with problems, unfortunately. And then all summer and spring you're fixing them. That was, I don't know. Then just a lot of different stuff. I get bored easily. I think that's part of...
How old are you during this time?
At that point, I'm still in my mid-20s. Okay. So, I mean, I only ever stayed, I was never anywhere for more than a year, up until recently, quite frankly. I mean, unless I was working for myself. I would get bored, I would have issues with something, and I'd say, I'm going to find greener pastures, or unfortunately, a lot of times in construction, I'd find someone that was doing something unethical. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this. And, I'll quit and walk away before I have someone question my integrity again. After the decisions I've already made, I have to steer clear of anything and everything. Hypersensitive to it. So, yeah, Office Depot, Home Depot, insurance restoration. That eventually led into me doing kitchens and baths myself. And kitchens and baths, I picked kitchens and baths because, again, you can relate to, again, you wanted to be defined as an artist, not a carpenter. And in kitchens and baths, it gave me the opportunity to do more of that fine finish craftsmanship and intricate tile work and things that people would be willing to spend a little bit more time in designing to know that they're going to get a specific result. That was fun. I still, again, wasn't great at selling my projects, selling my services, selling myself. So I was primarily working for friends of family and friends of family kind of thing. No cold calls or cold leads, for lack of better terms. When most of my businesses were structured that way up until recently, which has been a fun learning experience. So, but yeah, from kitchens and baths, I did that up until about 2014, 2015, where I was transitioning into home inspecting. My father had started a home inspection business and loved it. And I agreed that, this work, physical work, takes a toll on you. Walking around and looking at stuff and making a report's a lot less strenuous. So I did that.
So where's your father was located where?
Still Baltimore or Greenville. I'm sorry. Germantown. There we go. The other G. Germantown, Maryland. So still, that was all in Maryland, working around Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So then you did home inspecting for a while.
I did that for about 2 years. Again, still doing some miscellaneous carpentry, building out apartments, building out, miscellaneous stuff. But primary income was the home inspections. I did home inspections. I did home buyer seminars. That was terrifying. Believe it or not, I actually have my own social anxiety. Even though I'm on social media and I do all this kind of stuff, it still makes you a bit anxious. So getting up on front of stage for the first time, Was actually to help my dad out. I was totally blind. He called me and said, "Hey, by the way, I double booked. I need you to help me out." It's like, I need you to stand in for me at a seminar. You've got to be kidding me. But we did it. Again, you step out of your comfort zone and you do this stuff. It was horrible. I bombed. I made a bunch of jokes that no one laughed at. I felt so uncomfortable, but it was done, and it was a learning experience if nothing else. I made it. Cool. I survived. So
sometimes that's all you got to do is get through it.
That's it. Sometimes you just, watch the hours. Watch the hours, count the minutes. Just let it go by. Yeah. But no, it's all been good. I mean, it's all been good because most of my life, it's interesting looking back as you get older. I spend a lot of time reflecting, and I feel like all of those little elements that through my life, one way or the other, either broke me of a bad habit or perspective and or pulled me out of a comfort zone, has really helped prepare me for what I'm trying to do today. Like where I'm actually, even though I am like this, being on social media and going out to huge crowds, gets me anxious. I love interacting with people. So it's one of those, you got to deal with whatever the quirky is to, really connect with, everyone that you want to connect with. But
I get it, man. I totally get you.
There's just so much good that's come from it, and that's where like I can't just sit and be quiet anymore. Like the guys that I've trained over the last couple years, and the stories that they share, and the number of people, which I'm sure you can attest to, all the people that have told you how much what you've shared with them has allowed them to benefit their career and improve their skill sets. Again, I being one of them.
More than I can count.
Exactly. Like I didn't do decks much. I did no composite decks until 2020 and started building with legacy decks. And the first interview I had with them, they said, "Hey, do you know this guy named Dr. Dex?" And at the time, I've never heard of Dr. Dex. And they said, "Well, that's the guy. Like, if you know anything about building decks, like that's the guy to, that's our gold standard." So I left that day, man. And I just started cramming all of your YouTube content, all of your Instagram, and just binging for a while, just everything I could. I'm sure you remember there was a while that like people would ask you questions. I'm sure like I'm commenting back and then, comment back to you. "I'm sorry for answering questions on your posts and speaking on your behalf." And, but like, I was so involved, just so ingrained in what you're doing, studying all of your techniques.
I call you guys the loyal. I have a certain fan base that I consider my loyal followers, and they'll go to bat for me, regardless if it's answering a question because I'm busy, or possibly defending me or defending my honor when some butthole decides that they don't have anything nice to say and they're in a bad mood or they're drunk.
Yeah.
You would be surprised at how many drunk people make comments and don't realize what they had said to me, and then I block them, and then I catch them at a show and I go, "Well, I said, were you drunk?" And I've had 5 people in particular where I've said the same question to, and they're like, "Yeah, I was pretty hammered that night. You think you can unblock me?" I'm like, "Well," and they would apologize, and I'm like, "Okay," and we go find their account and go, "I'll be darned, here you are, you're blocked." I was like, "You must have said something to me that I didn't like."
That's it.
But anyway, that's really, I'm grateful, man. Like Chris Breen, he's been on our podcast as well. Go back a little bit. Explain to me where your transition was. How did you end up in legacy decks? And let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I did home inspections from 2015 up until 2017. Late 2016, I met my wife. And in early 2017, she got an opportunity to take a promotion, but it required her to relocate to Greenville. So that is where in 2017, I shut down everything I had, everything I'd built, got rid of all my tools, just like dissolved everything and moved down to Greenville. With her taking a promotion and me figuring it out, basically, just knowing I'm going to start over, move down. I'd already had a strong skill set. I know I had a pretty solid resume for construction. There's not too many people that are incredibly passionate about construction. So, I mean, that tends to, I feel, stand out.
It shows in your work.
And people appreciate it. Clients see it and they feel it. So
I appreciate it.
That's it. So yeah, so we moved down to Greenville, South Carolina. Crazy story. It's my wife and I. We'd only known each other for 3 months before we decided to move away together. But when you know, you know.
Cool. Hey.
So yeah, we move off, start another life together down here, and I just start working primarily in project management with other companies, and that was where I was trying to get in with helping other businesses in this new market that I wasn't familiar with. I didn't know all the codes. I didn't know the area. I didn't know. I mean, you move 500 miles away, and yes, you can cut boards the same, you can hammer things the same, you can drill the same, but the environmental conditions on how things are going to age and decay and just building in that climate is totally different. So I didn't want to come down and just start. I did not. I knew enough about my career now that was not a good idea. And so I wanted to find some sort of, for lack of better terms, partner, a company that I could work with and bring my value to help grow. So with that, I bounced around for a couple years, worked with a couple different general contractors in the area, doing all, everything, until I got tired of the one company and stumbled across Deck Masters. Deck Masters, all they do is decks. And I was like, you know what? I've been here for 3 years now. I could enjoy building decks in this climate. I'd say this would be pretty sweet to do decks outside year round if they can actually keep me busy. Let's give it a shot. So I went and met with them. I liked, again, that when I saw their portfolio, they were selling the kind of work that I wanted to be building, because I know I couldn't sell that at the time. Like there was no way I was going to compete with them. And so I saw a great opportunity for my skills to mesh with their sales and processes, everything that they have worked out, which everyone knows about. And just try to create some synergy and build for a while. And we did. I stuck it out with them for 3 years. I was there through the end of the Deck Masters transition into the starting of Legacy Decks, into the beginning of Academy, which at that point, once they started the Academy, things were just different there. And that was where, my vision, again, me being me, having, I just have my target and they have their target, and our visions were just, it got to the point where we weren't aligned anymore. So it was a really hard decision. It was a very hard decision.
Oh man, and I was shocked. But I tell you what, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you've laid down a really good foundation of this build up of where we're going. So I do appreciate that, because I'm totally clear on your path, right? Yeah. So, but just to reiterate, so you went in, you worked, which Legacy Decks now, before was Deck Masters, and I think Chris told this story too, but it's been several months and I don't quite remember it exactly how it worked. And now this is, okay, so in 2020, is that when you started working for Deck Masters, or is that when Legacy turned to Legacy?
No, that's when I started working. It was June or July of 2020 was our first project with Legacy.
So I had just wrapped that big Lake Taps curved deck with all the curved glass and all that crazy crap.
Yes.
During COVID, the beginning of COVID.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
it was
and that's when you started
all the magazines everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we killed it at Nadra too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about, I entered that deck in 5 categories and took home 6 first place trophies, man. We slaughtered everybody. No offense to anyone. I love you all. You guys are all great carpenters.
Yeah, you guys earned it in that project.
Yeah. I kind of feel like when I go to enter one of those jams, like I'm coming to kill it. If I can't kill it, then I probably am just going to pass on the entry.
Yeah.
That's why it took me 5 years to enter again. Because in 2025, guess what? We came back and we killed it again.
That's it.
And that's great. That's great. It gives everybody a fair playing field. Everybody gets a chance to win. And then every so often I feel like I've got something worthy, then I'll come in and drop. But enough about that. Okay, so here's where things, when I started really paying attention to you as an individual, your handle.
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you come up with that handle on social media, and when did you start on social media?
I started on social media January of 2021. I'd been building with Legacy for about 5 or 6 months. The majority of my career, people have always told me, you need to be taking pictures of the stuff you do. You need to be doing more. You need to be, presenting this, because that was something I never did. I documented pictures. Again, I worked for insurance companies, so I have like tens of thousands of pictures, but it's all like cover my butt photos. It's not presentation photos. It's if you want to sue me, I'm going to show you this photo of. I can show you where the wire's at in the wall. I can show you how you framed it, where the nails are at, where the pipes are, when we closed it. Like just
that's
the bureaucracy.
smart.
That's it's you get scarred.
Yeah.
You learn, you get burned, and you learn that you learn.
So your handle when you started social media, was that your handle?
That was it. I started with Deckmaster J because I was still building for Deckmasters, and everyone at the time had a Deckmaster something. There was Deckmaster Chris, and like I think Master Deck Manager Jonathan, or like everyone said something Deckmaster with their name, and I was just a sub. So I was already pretty risky because I felt like, hey, I'm just a sub, but I'm kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
Okay, so you're a subcontractor for Legacy, we're just going to call them Legacy Decks from here on out.
Yep,
but
that's how everyone knows them.
All AKA Deckmaster, Deckmasters. So what was your contracting name as a sub under Deckmasters?
Jaws Home Services.
Say again?
Jaws Home Services. My initials, Jeremy Aiden Wilkins. Home Services.
Jaw.
Yep.
Jaw Home Services. Okay. See, this is so much making sense to me now. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know anything about your story. Now, a lot of people probably might still be lost on all this, but like, dude, like I got a crystal ball over my head now, man. I'm totally on board. I know exactly what's going on here. So, okay. So so back to what I was going to say, and then you can elaborate on this. I really started paying attention. We started corresponding pretty immediate after. Who's this Deckmaster J? But it's a cool handle. It was easy to remember. This is what I tell people all the time. Don't create a handle that I can't remember, because I'm never going to tag you or identify you in anything I do. I'm not going to sit for 5 to 10 minutes trying to find you on the internet.
Yep.
Either you make it identifiable so I can find you immediately, or that I remember, or choose a different one.
It's got to work.
And your handle works. And I thought maybe you created that handle around just the fact that you were a really good deck builder and your first initial.
Nope.
But it happened to be somebody else's business.
And my initial, yep.
It's kind of funny. And your initial. So like, I get it. So Deckmaster J, but it just stuck, And so good on you for having that wherewithal, that insight to create something that people can identify with. I would never ditch that handle.
No, I have no plan to. The whole Deckmaster, everyone knows me as that, that positive influence of the, you got a question, I'll share. Just shoot me a message. I'll get back to you. If you call me in the middle of the workday, I might be busy, and if it's not if it's an unknown number, I'm probably not answering, just because I'm so slammed.
The good thing is though, but you're there, and people can. Okay, so here you go. If you have a question for Jeremy, I'm sure you don't mind me saying this, Jeremy, but at Deckmaster J is his handle. There you go. Reach out to him. He's got a wicked set of skills. Not only does he have a set of deck building skills, he has a set of other skills as well, like home building and all kinds of stuff, things I don't possess, that at such a young age, that's incredible. So, okay, but I think the thing I really started paying attention to is when you kept talking to Chris and saying, dude, let me curve a deck. Let me put a curve in a deck. Hey, Chris, can I curve a deck soon? How about if we curve a deck over here? And then finally you got that opportunity and you killed it.
Yeah.
You absolutely killed it, man.
Again, you set me up to succeed with all the stuff you put out there. Because before I even started, I felt pretty comfortable. So that was it.
Cool. I think we talked about it. I think I actually physically talked to you about it before. I don't know. You guys probably don't know this, but Jeremy and I have had several conversations, not a grip of them, but several, and a couple in person at different events and whatnot. So we know each other. And that's why we're having this podcast today, is because he reached out to me. I actually put a post out on Instagram and said, hey, I need a podcast guest. I didn't get into the details of why or what. And Jeremy reached out and said, hey, I'll help you out. I'm like, perfect. I didn't have to look anymore. I deleted the post. After you, Jeremy, after you reached out to me, I went back and deleted the post because it's not good for my insights. when you're an influencer, that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like one bad post, that takes it down a percentage. You can't have that. So I got rid of some of the fluff. But anyway, so okay, I'm kind of like a dog right now. I'm just going back and forth. But let's
You're
get
fine.
back to.
I got nothing but time.
Well, cool. Let's get back. Well, we're running out of it for this particular section of our podcast, but we're almost at the end of your journey here, so this is cool. So, okay, you're doing really good at Legacy, but you can see the academies coming in, and there's some things you're not so much on board with, and maybe I'm not saying they're rubbing you the wrong way, but maybe they're just not the way you saw it coming. So, at that point in time, where was your head on that?
So this is where I go full on crazy. And
all right.
I say full on crazy in the sense of I didn't know what I was going to do. I just decided that I knew this wasn't it, and I quit. I let them know that I was finishing that project for them, and that was the last one. I wasn't going to start another one. Trying to just end everything on good terms. And figure out what my next chapter was going to be. Well, that ultimately turned into me deciding that I want to start building the platform to support me connecting more with the industry. I've done a couple of the different. I mean, every influencer has their own way of making money with their stuff. A lot of guys go out and do sponsorships, which I tried a couple of those with some certain things, and I didn't like it. I'm not my style, not my jam. I like being
regulated,
in control. Exactly. You're stuck
there
to a
you go.
schedule. You got to do a script to make sure you say this point, and it doesn't come off as authentic.
I'm submissive, and you're not.
Yeah, it doesn't come off as authentic to me, and I really want to. If nothing else, the authenticity of my content has to be there. I don't want to come off as salesy, and I don't want to come off as a know-it-all. But I also don't want to come off as like, you have to do it my way. Like there's
a mix. There's a fit for everybody.
Right.
There's a fit for that's one thing I'm grateful for is that most of my sponsors have allowed me to remain gritty. In what I do.
Absolutely.
And our YouTube channel has been a little bit harder to sell because it's more polished. Calvin does such a good job at editing that thing that, it's been a little bit harder to get everybody on board, but it's slowly coming to fruition. It just takes time.
That's it.
All this stuff takes time. And again, that's where we're at. Like, we're throwing stuff on the wall and trying to get stuff to stick.
Yep.
So, but here's my thing with you. You quit, and I was like, what? And, oh, by the way, Chris Breen has nothing but good things to say about you. He's happy for you. He only wants the most success for you. He didn't say that dirty, rotten scoundrel or none of that. He was just good stuff.
Yep.
And
there's no bad
because
blood.
I felt like you carried a team of builders for that company. Like, they lost a whole crew, but by losing that one guy, they lost a production team. Not just one guy. They lost the ability to send out a team to build decks for them.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you quit on me like that, I would have been devastated. Because I don't know what I would have done, because it's hard to find people like you in our industry, especially right now.
That's it. But I knew, unfortunately, I couldn't commit to my passion and their passion,
Fair enough.
And give it my all. I mean, there was no way. There was no way. And that was the unfortunate reality of it.
Because one day, all of a sudden, I just saw you building a house.
Yes.
I'm like, what's this guy doing building a house? I said, I thought he was a deck builder. And then come to find out, he doesn't work at Legacy anymore. Shocker.
Yep.
So then I thought, what? Is he just going to go off and start building homes? A few other deck builders have done the same thing. It's kind of funny, though. You guys all come back to building decks again.
Well, that's it. I never really wanted to get out of decks, but I wanted to do things differently. And I wanted to show that we could do things differently. So what I wound up doing was my crazy self. I went out and quit my job with nothing lined up, and I went and found myself a new partner, what I'll refer to it as. But this one, I, again, did things a little bit different. Like when I started at Legacy, my time at Legacy, I was trying to go in and show them primarily that like I can replicate myself. The most valuable thing that I feel like I can show your team is that I'm not special. I just have a process, and I can teach anyone to do my process. If someone wants to learn my process, I can teach my process. It's no secret. And I was able to do that while I was there too, before I left. You know, I don't know, you probably met Thatcher a couple times at some of the events, but I was able to train another builder there in a couple months. He had general construction experience, but he wasn't comfortable enough to do legacy work, you know, the big projects, the luxury projects with the tight tolerances. So we spent, I think it was 3 or 4 months together where he worked with me. I brought him on, paid him, you know, directly through me, and then trained him through that time. And let him go. I planned to eat the cost of training him to show that I could teach him to then be another builder. Well, he went on building for Legacy for another 3 years, doing a lot of stuff that I pulled out of. So he was getting the curved projects. He was doing the curved stairs. He took over, which was awesome. I love being a part of that kind of thing, like being able to teach people valuable skills that no one can ever take from them. Once you learn these and hone these arts, you can never lose it. You can take, you know, someone can wipe out your bank account and they can take all the clothes off your back, but they can't take those skills once you've acquired them.
No, you still have the ability to make money as long as you have a client, you know?
That's it.
Hey,
And you can take it anywhere. So
teach a man to fish.
That's it.
He'll catch fish for life.
So that's a big emphasis of what I'm trying to do, because I have a lot of passion in the teaching and the training, and that is
okay. So let's get into that.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to conclude on today. Is okay. So So explain to me where you went from the house building to now you're back into deck building / consulting, or are you teaching, or what exactly is it that you're doing?
I am trying to make myself available to the industry while covering my own bills through building decks. Because I feel like there's a certain level of, again, integrity that if I can make what I need to make through building the deck process, hopefully that gives me a little bit more credibility when I'm talking about, you know, certain levels of business decisions with, you know, certain people. Whatever. But as a subcontractor, you're exposed to different things, and then you get out to be a builder, you're dealing with everything all of a sudden. Anyways, the whole point with that was I wanted to get out and start connecting with builders, and the partner that I took me on in this whole thing was essentially my client zero, for lack of better terms. I wanted to come in and work with somebody very closely. I basically monitored what he did. I worked for him as a carpenter for about 4 to 6 months, just observing, building trust, showing him that, hey, you got problems with your electrical, I got you. You need to frame this wall up, let's do it. You know, dormer off this 312, let's whatever. Just any part of the build process, anything you got a problem with, let's do it. If I don't know it, we'll figure it out. But I'll tell you I don't know it. Like, I'll be clear, we're figuring this out. I'm not going to tell you I don't know. Or I'll tell you I know something I don't. But ultimately,
you have an uncanny ability. You have an uncanny ability to be able to do it, but do it correctly.
Again, you do something for a long time, you come across all these.
Not everybody has that.
Well, maybe I take it for granted then. But I feel like it's
that's
something
okay.
you do something long enough. You do something.
I love
long
the humility.
Like I said, anytime that I got comfortable on something, I feel like that's when I make a big mistake, because
complacency.
Exactly. You stop paying attention to certain details, and all of a sudden, it hits you. And it's in business, it's never a small hit you. It's always, a train out of nowhere from both sides. Let's get it done. Let's just deal with it. So, but that was that. I wound up starting with Max, we connected through social media previously in the area. He was one of the early buy-ins to my deck tool. He was one of the pre-orders for the deck tool. So we connected a while before we started working together. But we have started working together in a way that's allowed us to really refine what it is to sell a deck, what it is to sell a project in this day and age. We're working through trying to make it easier for as many deck builders as we can to sell decks, and inspire new builders to come in with these tools and software that we're developing. Like that's where we're going now. My partner, who has been in construction, he's been a licensed builder since 2017 in the area. I have not been a licensed builder since ever in the state of South Carolina, but I've been in construction forever. Again, there's a certain level of understanding within that. I wanted someone that could speak to their past experiences versus what we're doing now. And I needed someone that was actually doing it. I didn't want to go out and start a business in this area that I'm not familiar with. Max was very familiar with it, but he wasn't as refined in his processes. And after time, getting to show him how I'm as efficient as I am and how I do what I do is nothing but processes. Now we pretty much look at everything we do in our day as, what am I doing that I don't have to actually do? And what could we possibly have in place that could make things even easier? Hypothetically, like it's just totally just out of left field. Just let's get crazy. What if scenarios kind of thing? Not this is what we have, but what if we had something that we don't have now? And then what would it take to do that? And then bringing that kind of tool in. So that's in a nutshell. I'm not trying to turn this into anything salesy because I don't want it to be salesy, but it's exciting because what we're trying to do is create a sales tool that deck builders can use at the time of sale to really streamline their sales process by doing all the work at that point in time. It's like you can go through.
Tell you what, I'm gonna cut you off right there.
That's it.
Because we're gonna talk about this on our Patreon episode. Okay, because if you want to hear the valuable information that Deckmaster Jay is about to expel, you got to go subscribe to our Patreon. And jump in on that. We've given you enough free information for today.
We couldn't have hooked you any better on that one.
No, absolutely not. That's why I had to stop you, brother, because I want to hear some more, but not on this free podcast. It's going to cost you $5 a month. All right, Deckmaster Jay, Jeremy Wilkins, Deck Van Gogh, all the above. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. I really appreciate it. Calvin, you know what to do. And Jeremy, I'll see you in a minute over on Patreon. Absolutely. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and don't forget, you can get a hold of Deckmaster Jay. His handle is @DeckmasterJ. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.